delineations for the various schools: the Clinton School District, the Tuscan School District, Jefferson, Seth Boyden, etc. for purposes of studying the market within those districts. Once we have delineated all of those neighborhoods, then we study the universe of sales within, because now we're studying truly comparable sales of truly comparable type of properties. A neighborhood such as the Clinton School District, behind Clinton School, Burr Road, for example, has a lot of homes that were built in the 30s, and they're somewhat assimilating a Tudor type, but there's a homogeneity to that type of architecture. So it's very important to break the community down into these kind of neighborhoods where we can look at similar types of architecture, and architecture that's in the same economic range of value, because that's when you get true comparability. We record all of the sales within those neighborhoods. That's just a starting point, because just because you're within a certain neighborhood that has a high degree of homogeneity doesn't mean that all things are equal. Location, as Rick mentioned earlier, location, location, location is still important. For example, you might have a house, this house here, that's at the end of a cul-de-sac street. You may have the very same house that's on another street that may be a cut-through street. It may be the same house that borders high-tension wires or a busy street, or it may be the same house that borders the Maplewood Country Club. So location is very important, and that's why it's important for us to denote all of these sales on a tax map within that specific neighborhood boundary for purposes of doing our analysis. And once we have clearly denoted the neighborhoods, the sales within, and identified the types of properties within and their location, now we're ready to move on to a very extensive analysis of those sales.
One of the things that we're doing nowadays, especially over the past 2-3 years, is to do trend analysis. And a trend analysis will have us take sales that occurred 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, this year, and we all know what's happened to the real estate market. We all know it's gone down substantially in the past 2-3 years since 2006. But to what degree has it gone down in this town? And to what degree has it gone down for different neighborhoods or different property types? Low-end properties versus high-end properties, colonials versus ranches. I want to get as specific as I can in the township with respect to what's been happening with this particular downturn for all different types of properties and all different locations. Have the commercials gone down as much as the residentials? We'll see. I can tell you that every town that I've done trend analysis in the past 2 years has told a different story as to the degree of downturn. Some towns, the high-end properties are very little affected, and the low-end properties are heavily affected. Some towns, it's vice versa. Why? I'm not sure why, but the data is what it is. But I will tell you this, that at the end of this job, and when we are ready to share all our information with you, we will have the data which will prove what has been happening in the township with the market. And we're very fortunate in that we do get to see what happens in the spring of 2010, summer 2010, fall of 2010, before our final values do go into effect. I, for one, am very curious to see what's going to happen to the market over the next 6 months. I think everybody in the business is wondering as well. But I can assure you that as of October 1st, 2010, our assessments will be in line with wherever the market is at that point in time. So, for example, you bought your house last year for $500,000, and my data tells me that for that particular house, in your particular neighborhood, in the township of Maplewood, there's been a 10% downturn in 1 year, then your assessment will be approximately $450,000, not the $500,000 that you paid for it a year before. And all this information we're prepared to share with you. We also have a myriad of reports which will tell us how our ranch is selling versus colonials, how are large homes selling versus small homes, older homes versus new homes. Our computer programs, once all this data is collected and entered into the system, can churn out a whole bunch of different types of reports that are useful. Paired sales. One of the questions a lot of people ask me, well, I'm a busy street, but how do you know how much to adjust downward for being on a busy street? Well, we seek out what's called a paired sale in the business, and that's to try and find two homes that are very similar, that have sold around the same time, one on the busy street, one off the busy street. And if one house sold for $500,000 and another sold for $450,000, all other things being equal except that busy street, then that's the perfect paired sale, which says that busy street should be a 10% downward adjustment. Now, once we've collected all the data and we've analyzed all the data and we've reviewed all the data, then we get to the most interesting part of the process, which will probably take place sometime around November of this year, late November, December, and that is to inform you what the result is of your appraisal. We send out initially a very simple, straight-to-the-point letter, which thanks you for your cooperation in the process and gets right to the point. The fair market value of your house as of October 1st, 2010 is. Now, this is a very important process to us, because this is where we will prove to you that we are trying our best to be as transparent as possible in the process. So what we do is, after you get this letter, you can do one of two things. You can either go on our website, and on our website will be all of those reports that I just described, the neighborhood map that Ernie described, delineated, color-coded. You'll be able to print it out, download it from the computer, review it. All of the assessments for all of the properties, as well as all the objective information on those properties, how big the house is, how big the lot is, when it was built. All of the sales that we've utilized, pictures of the sales, as much information as we could possibly put onto our website that was utilized, we're going to put out there on the website. And if you don't want to go on the website, then you can simply call us up, schedule a one-on-one meeting, and we'll give you all that same information in person, one-on-one.